1, 2, 3. Hey y'all, how's it going? Bennett here. This lesson is on 40 Years of Trouble. I think it's by Danny Paisley, but if I'm wrong, just correct me in the comment section below. The first break that I play is a Scruggs break, and it's pretty straightforward. I wanted to stick to the melody as best as I could without doing too many kind of Scruggs flourishes in there. So if you're a beginner or intermediate player, this would be a great break for you to learn because it's not too fancy. The melodic break, however, is a little bit more complex, but it's not too technically difficult. There is a ascending G major scale run that is super useful in a lot of different songs, and also there is a reharmonization of a G major chord moving to a C chord, and I'll talk about that later in the breaking it down section. But I really like this break. I hope you do too. There isn't tab available for this because I want you to learn this by ear. I think it's the best way to learn music, and you can also use tools that YouTube provides to slow down the video more. There's a little wheel in the bottom right corner of every video that you can use to slow down the video to like 25%, 50%, 75%. So use that if you need to slow it down. And if you have any questions about this lesson or about learning by ear, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll hit you back. Thanks so much. Subscribe if you're new and enjoy 40 Years of Trouble. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, four, one. This Scruggs style break is very straightforward to the melody of the song. I basically listened to Danny Paisley sing it a bunch, and I tried to figure out what he was doing with his voice, and then I put it on the instrument. I tried to simplify it as much as possible. So you're seeing a lot of this. A lot of that forward roll, starting out with that hammer-on on the second string, and that's just emulating the vocals. So 40 years I've been gone. So it's trying to get that vocal styling as much as possible in a simplified kind of Scruggs break. So there's not a lot of third string hammer-ons or pull-offs in this. Over the D chords, I'm just hanging on that, third string, second fret note, and it's really based, this break is based almost entirely in the forward roll. So I'm hoping that it's going to be pretty simple for you to pick up by ear, but if you have any questions about it, just let me know in the comments below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The melodified break, per usual, is a little bit more difficult. It's got some chromaticism in there in the beginning, so instead of just doing I'm going that little chromaticism in there. To the C chord, that's a standard C chord roll, and that's the same thing I did in the Scruggs break. And then right after the C chord, I'm doing just a G major scale ascending. And this is a pattern. This is a pattern that if you're a student of mine, you know this pattern because I've talked about it a lot when I teach scales. This is one of the main patterns that I teach because I think it's so useful in a bluegrass context, and it sounds great on the banjo. This is a pattern I call 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and those just refer to the scale degrees. So you're going 1, 2, 3, and then back to 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 2. So if you're learning this by ear, that could be really helpful for figuring out what the scale is on your instrument, if you know the scale degrees. Otherwise, if you don't want to worry about scale degrees, you can just learn it by ear, get that pattern in your head. Once you get it in your head, it kind of doesn't stop. You can play it all the way up if you can figure out where those notes are. But for me, when I'm learning these patterns on the neck, I get that first kind of initial phrase in my head, and it kind of just makes sense as I progress through the scale. So I'll go through the scale. And then when I hit this 5th string note, I'm going to start an ascending scale up to this note. So I'm thinking about, okay, where's my melody note coming up? And it's right here. So I'm going, that's just a G major scale. 5th string, you're starting on the 5th string, and you're just doing a G major scale up to the D. And that is where the next phrase starts, and this is another melodic lick. I think this is partially stolen from Scott Vestal. He may have stole it from someone, but the lick is like this. And I initially started out messing with ideas that sounded like this, or something like that. And the idea behind this chord right here, which could be called a B7th chord or a B chord, is it's a half step down from the next chord. And the next chord in the chord progression is a C. And so I just like the way that this sounds. If you flatted this note, which made it an F natural, you would be able to call this a G7th augmented chord. But I kind of like the F sharp in there. It's kind of this cool like chromaticism up to the C. So I was messing around with that idea, which you can use in the context of the song, but I ended up digging this more. So starting out with that B up here, and then moving it down to this root position B. And that way, it gets me in position to move to this C chord. And when I move to the C chord, I'm doing this kind of like suspension on the C chord. So it's like a sus4 to lead me down to that E note. That's kind of the melody that I was hearing. And then I'm going straight back into the melody of the tune. And then there's a couple backward rolls here. So that's over a D chord, you can see, I don't know, that's like a funky way to play that. If you wanted to get the 7th in there, you could play right there or right here. It's a stretchy one, but it's a good one if you want to get that 7th in there. So it could be like this. I don't know, I made that up literally on the spot now, but it's something that I've heard Noam use quite a bit. it's a really cool sounding thing. But it's a lot more difficult than just putting your couple fingers down here. And then I end it with this sliding into the G, and then a little melodic lick, which is a really great melodic lick that I use a lot. You can kind of fit that in several different places. So it's this little forward roll and then backwards roll into the 3-2 pull off, like that. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section below.